Hannibal and the Hannibal TV mascot Piper here from thehannibaltv.com with the daily wrestling news update. And there's a lot of news today. So let me get right into it. There is a hell of a lot of news. First of all, MJF. It's not really news, but MJF has publicly asked for Logan Paul to have him on his podcast. It appears that part of the deal Logan Paul has with WWE is to have WWE wrestlers on the podcast. It's a good deal, whatever they have with Logan Paul, because it makes them seem cool, because I don't think there was ever a wrestler on the podcast before they started putting Logan Paul on the payroll. It's a way of making wrestling seem cool. It's doubtful that they will have MJF on the podcast. And although he's talented, I honestly don't know, considering the guests that Logan Paul has on the podcast. I honestly don't know if MJF is mainstream enough yet to make. I guess wrestling fans would tune in because of the crossover, but I don't know if like the regular Logan Paul fans would really care. Impulsive fans would really care, because honestly, I think they're force-fed the wrestling stuff, because I have watched the podcast for about 2 years now, since they are one of the number one podcasts on YouTube. And the stuff that it's most popular for is not wrestling related. So I wouldn't hold your breath for that to happen, but it got in the news today. Baron Corbin apparently was cheered over Gable Stevenson during their recent NXT Great American Bash match. Apparently it started off at 50-50, then it went to 100% behind Corbin, and Corbin said he just went with it. And I think it's because WWE fans, even like me, as talented as Gable Stevenson is, I have to say that I'm sick of these college athletes being force-fed to us in wrestling. I want to see wrestlers that have trained on the indies and have got popular on their own, rather than these force-fed college athletes. I mean, they can get anyone over eventually. They just have to keep pushing them, unless it's Brackus, for anyone that remembers Brackus. But yeah, it's nice to see that the fans turned on being force-fed Gable Stevenson. Because to me, honestly, I think he's possibly the greatest heavyweight of all time. But from the stuff I've seen of him in wrestling, he's no Brock Lesnar from a presence standpoint. In other wrestling news, of course, I mentioned before, Lacey Evans is done with WWE. Sami Zayn did an interview where he says his loss to Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is still a hard pill for him to swallow. He says that it's hard to know that he's not, quote unquote, the chosen one. Well, the fact of the matter is he doesn't have a marketable look. Maybe if he'd actually go to the gym and put on some muscle, he'd have more of a marketable look. Good for him that he catched on and makes in the millions a year. I never got Sami Zayn. And for people to say I'm just jealous, he was on the indies here when I was throughout my whole career in this area. He was from Montreal, less than 2 hours away from me. We only ever used him once in Great North Wrestling. And Jeremy Prophet, it was a favor to him because Jeremy wanted to wrestle him. I never liked his style. And I'm not saying it isn't great, but I'm just saying that like, he was never the type of wrestler that I found appealing. And I honestly think his Elimination Chamber thing, which I'll probably never have that he had his moment. That Elimination Chamber, that's as highest as he'll ever be in wrestling. And of course, they had that WrestleMania Night 1 match against the Usos, which had so much leg slapping, it made me not want to watch WrestleMania Night 2. because my favorite wrestlers, Ric Flair, The Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Goldberg, The Undertaker, I never ever saw slap a leg. Even Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart, never seen slap a leg. To me, as a guy that's been in Taekwondo and kickboxing and been in real fights, anyone slapping a leg in a fight is just stupid. So I hate those type of wrestlers. I'm glad people do like that. I mean, as I said, I respect them all. I respect the Young Bucks and Sami Zayn for their accomplishments, but they're definitely not my taste. They're not larger than life characters. Britt Baker says she's decided to take a step back from dentistry because of the ever-growing AEW schedule. It was becoming too hard to manage, calling off appointments last minute when Tony Khan needed her, etc. Well, let's face the facts here. She's probably making more money in AEW than she did as a dentist. And being a wrestler is a lot easier than doing dental work. I know, I'm sure it has its advantages, but it's a tough job, and those surgeries are probably very stressful and require a lot of concentration. So I don't blame her for dropping that. By the way, there's a match from Britt Baker versus Tessa Blanchard on this channel. Put the link in the description. In other wrestling news, Rob Van Dam said he had permission from WWE to have his AEW Dynamite match. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, Tammy Sunny Sitch has pled no contest to felony DUI causing death, driving with a suspended license causing death, 2 charges of DUI with damage to property, and 4 counts of DUI with damage to person. She's facing 25 years in jail. So she pled no contest despite initially denying the charges. I guess she didn't want to waste money on a lawyer. Who knows if there's some type of deal with the prosecution. I just wanted to thank Trisha Morrison for sending me this gift. Tommy Morrison's ashes in these boxing gloves. And I have to say, today was about the 6th day in a row that I ran, and I really was sore before I ran tonight. But I did DDP yoga, the hip and knee loosener, and then I put these ashes of Tommy Morrison from Rocky V, great world champion boxer, one of my favorites. And it really gave me an amazing run. And by the way, a fan bought this shirt for me, so I decided to wear it one last time. This was a Harley race camp that I attended back in 2015, where I actually did an interview with Harley Race that's on the HANNIBAL TV. And Tom Pritchard was also there, and Pro Wrestling Noah people, and Ric Flair, the Nature Boy himself, was there in 2015, where he actually scouted one of our matches on behalf of WWE. And he said he was going to recommend 4 people from the camp to NXT. And when I talked to him at the show that night, which, by the way, since I was cleared of Hep C, I was licensed to wrestle in Missouri, which is one of the states where you still require a license. I talked to Ric Flair in the dressing room that night, and I asked him his advice on anything I needed to do to make it in wrestling. And he said, "You're good. You're one of the 4 I'm recommending to Triple H." By the way, Gerald Briscoe also recommended me to Triple H, and they set me up with a 2016 NXT tryout, which 10 days before the tryout, I got an email from somebody in WWE saying I was mysteriously uninvited to the tryout. I don't know if that's Kevin Owens gatekeeping or what. We know he was gatekeeping for Cedric Rougeau and Jeremy Prophet, which, by the way, Jeremy Prophet is way more talented than Kevin Owens. But that's just the story I wanted to tell you from the camp. It was a really, really, really fun camp. I'll tell you one more funny story for the camp. There was like, actually, I'm not even going to tell the story because I got an interview with Ice Train at 9 p.m. from WCW. So I'll just go through your questions quickly. I'll tell the story another time. And Mike is buying the shirt, so I'll give him a shout out. Al, what's up? I'm doing good. Mike, Big Money Dan, the left-hand man. Do a follow-up with Danny Spivey, who was also the Buzzard. Would WWE prohibit him from having a match? He's probably under some type of WWE deal still. Maybe something with his latest toy contract or something. Who knows? Somebody liked him better with a mask. I forget who you're referring to. Obviously, somebody in the update. Someone giving a woo for Ric Flair. I inspired somebody to try DDP yoga. Well, I have to say it's helping me. Since I've been out of the hospital from a health issue I had, maybe going on 3.5 weeks now, maybe. And I've done DDP yoga every day, but 2 days. I've been back doing walk running for extended periods of time now, for a while now, and it's getting better. And I've been in the gym 3 days this week. I am having some weightlifting issues stemming from some of my trapezius muscles being severed, I guess. But I'm dealing with that through some doctors, and I don't think it's going to be permanent. Goldberg is stiff. I like stiff. And by the way, Goldberg is trained in Muay Thai. He's a real fighter too. The Metal Maniac, who's apparently a big Kevin Von Erich fan. He's on here. Is she actually a dentist? Yes. Sad about Sunny. Somebody likes the shirt. Tommy Morrison's ashes. Yeah, what could be more motivating than that? Am I still Texas Heavyweight Champion? Well, the Blood Hunter vacated that title. The Blood Hunter vacated that title because he didn't want to be a champion that's not a fighting champion, and everyone was too chicken to fight him there. But he's never been pinned. The Blood Hunter has never been pinned. I believe he debuted in August, actually, 2019. So he's been around for about 4 years. He's never been pinned. And he destroyed everybody in Texas. He was the most hated modern heel in Texas. Jeff Miller says it's Kerry that he's the big fan of. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. And apparently Bradshaw was talking some smack about the Metal Maniac. And one more last thank you to Trisha Morrison, who's a great woman, great wife, even in the death of Tommy, fighting for justice for Tommy. And I'm honored to have some of his ashes. Honestly, I'm honored to have his ashes around my neck. So I wish everybody good night. Tune in 4 minutes for the Ice Train interview.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos,